up to the dais. There must be 100 of them out here.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, is everybody ready?
I'm just waiting for this to catch up.
Okay.
Stream.
Let me-
Oh, it's doing this again. Well, okay, that's
you want me to-
that's a YouTube thing.
Let me just check the volume real quick.
That's not an us thing.
Let's make sure.
I have your pen. This pen came, whatever I grab out of my purse is what I use. Oh.
We are.
Not falling asleep.
Oh,
Where's the power out?
in Bedford.
Oh, really?
You turn
Oh,
the AC on in your office and it's,
It's all the AC we're using in my office and theirs. It's sucking it out of Bedford. No. This says we're not receiving enough video to maintain the smooth streaming. That's weird. But I don't think that's us, is it? I think it's, so I can see us on the screen here. Whatever that means, right? I don't know. It's the first time I've seen all this. Go.
Testing.
Open the widget. Should we open?
It's kind of doing what it's doing there.
Yeah,
It's buffering a little bit.
It's making a comment that says it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
What it's doing on mine, like it's buffering.
Yeah,
It stops and it's kind of blurry.
Well, if
It's
there's.
not-
okay.
Well,
Put it
power
on.
out,
I do
there
have
might be
this-
internet
If you can
problems.
hear us, that'll be,
John just said there's power out in Bedford.
So there might be.
So we might have
internet.
an internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have dispatch taping the meeting too. So if somebody, it is being recorded in case they anybody needs a copy of it.
okay.
Okay, so everybody good with going?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the committee of the whole meeting of the Village of Walton Hills of Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, at some power outages in the surrounding community. Those minutes pass, 5-0. Next item, item 4, any comments related to the agenda items? Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just had one quick question. Last week we toured Phase 2, and you were going to let us know, was that from Walton to Dunham, or?
That was a question I meant to ask yesterday.
is now the appropriate time or?
What, Mr. Nielsen, we're going to go through each piece of
Okay,
legislation
okay, I just-
individually. And also, one of the other questions, because that was a question asked,
Correct.
and the other question asked was to, and you have the sheet, is we'll go through what part is grant, what part the village is going to have to pay for. So if you're okay, we'll go individually
That's
through
fine,
'em.
that's fine.
Okay, so we got that. Any other comments related to anything else from the residents? Okay. How about council, anything else? We can always go in between. Otherwise, I'll move on to item 5, legislation. So we have resolution 2022-13, that's the 2022 road program with specialized construction. That's the asphalt repairs. So you'll see that.
Oh, I didn't give you the updated one. I updated and stuck in the wrong one. So we know in the whereas, the first whereas, that needs to say 2022. And I gave you the wrong.
Now, if you look at your sheet there, what we have, Mr. Gelati put this together along with Angela. We have the total cost of the project. You have what we're receiving from the county in the form of a grant, and then have the net village expenditure. And Angela will have you talk a little bit to that. So you'll see that the total cost is $150,000. We're getting a grant of $62,000, even though we budgeted for $75,000. And the total cost of, out of the village pockets is $99,215. Is that correct?
Correct.
So the difference is of that 105 and that 99 that we have to make up, and that's what Councilman Whedon was talking about in the finance meeting. And Angela, so the question is, where were we gonna, is there, you mentioned we have more.
Right, we took the note for 400,000 even, just to cushion, and don't forget the above crack ceiling for Jefferson, Somerset, Delwood, and McLennan is also part of this. So, yeah, so we're actually a little bit underbid, because we estimated that it would be 150 just for the county route maintenance and 30 for crack sealing, but, and so that totaled 180, we're actually coming in at 162 for what the, you know, the contract's gonna be. And then we thought we would have 75 coming from the county, so we do have a little bit less there. But basically, we're paying 99,215 instead of 105. So if you look originally, all of the Jefferson, Somerset, Delwood stuff was gonna come straight out of our budget, that 30,000. And we thought we'd split 50-50 if we got the grant for 75, and we'd owe 75. So out of pocket would have been 105, 05 for us. Right now, the actual out of pocket for us is actually 99,215. So everything in black is what was on your original road program sheets back in November, when we looked at them, October, November. So the bid came in, because we bid the two projects together, less than what we estimated.
Oh, it was Hickory.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
We thought we
it
might
was
be.
Hickory and Tulip that I got
So yeah,
it
on
was
this
Hickory
first,
and
on this
Tulip, we
first one, we're
budgeted.
under.
257, that came in at 275, that was the one, I meant that's the 16. Okay.
Teeny tiny writing incident here. Okay, are you good? And one, this breakdown of the costs not to exceed the county portion and the out-of-pocket for the village, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
That way we'll clear it up.
Okay.
Okay. Then we'll move on to phase 2. That's, which the Alexander Dunham, it says right there, that's Dunham to Walton,
Okay, jump around in your packet.
or Walton to Dunham, however you want to look at it. So that
Depending on which
answers that.
direction. Yeah, I
that
know the
answers
packet's
that
in a
question.
different order, sorry. Packet's in a different order
Yeah,
than the
that's-
sheet.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah.
2022-18.
So that would be,
2022-18 you need to look at.
yes,
The last one.
I should follow the agenda there.
That's all right. I didn't think to rearrange his
Because
sheet.
we got the old pack and then we got this from today. So we're on item B, 2022-14.
Well, what do you want to do? You want to go on the,
That's the yeah, let's follow that.
okay, we're going to
let's
follow the
follow.
agenda.
I'll follow the
Backtrack.
agenda. Let's go back to that.
Go into the concrete repairs.
Because I was starting to follow it. So let's follow in, because that's what the residents have too.
Okay.
So we did do resolution 2022-13,
And then
20, that's the road program specialized construction. Everybody good with that one? One we
Yes.
just, okay, so we're good with that. So we'll have that for legislation. The only thing that will be different on there, we'll have that more information with the difference in the cost.
Yep.
You'll have that in the, all right. Now we're on item B of the agenda, which is resolution 2022-14. That's the concrete repair program. So that's like the third item, and then that's the second item in this packet that we talked about last week, which is the A&J Cement Contractors.
Correct. So we thought that the total cost would be 150,000. This is the Community Development Block Grant Plus. Now we have that supplemental grant, so that takes us to 200,000 in grant money, potentially, up to 200,000. The bid came in at 165.5, so that was slightly,
Residents here and residents that are watching the live stream for informational reasons, we do get grant money for, state routes, county routes. There is no grant money for our secondary roads, our private roads. So when you see that, those are strictly funded out of our village coffers, out of our general fund, out of pocket, as you'll see here with hickory and tulip and chestnut. Okay, is everybody good with the legislation for the concrete repairs?
I will also update that one to show the zero out of pocket.
Okay, that's fine. That's. I'll just tell you a little inside here, and I think that's by Angela's. So I shared with her about updating it, and she originally wanted to update the legislation. And I said, well, I think the legislation is good the way it is. So then you heard it when updated, I gotta, I told you so, okay?
He did. He gotta let me do it my way the first time. That's
guess
okay. I had seen something in the past where we did include it. That's why I thought, let's just put it in there, but that's okay.
All right. So we'll move
Now
on to
hickory
item
tulip.
C, which is resolution 2022-15. That's the hickory tulip chestnut resurfacing. Okay. And I would like to ask for these items for resolution. Council feels so, especially if we are breaking for the summer in July and August. The
Medical revenue suspension
suspension, what did I say?
resolution.
Oh, boy,
It is
that 5:30
suspended to
meeting got me.
resolve.
I think all the Lake Club sunshine is getting to me.
No, I haven't been down there actually too much, so. But, yes, for suspension. The only thing I will say, we probably will have some special meetings, maybe not related to this, but maybe relating because of some of the economic development we have going on. But those are good things. Okay, so on hickory, tulip, and chestnut resurfacing on your spreadsheet, you see that there. We budgeted, and we just talked about that. We budgeted the 257, correct, Angela?
Yes,
And the actual is the 275.
this is the one that's. more
And this
right.
is where you will, we will make that difference up from the
Yeah, we're covered.
$400,000. Okay. Because that was a question we had yesterday. Okay. Anybody have any questions related to the hickory tulip chestnut resurfacing? And that is awarded to, let me look at the contract. I think they're actually doing two jobs for us.
Mhm. Crossroads.
Crossroads Construction, correct. Crossroads Asphalt Recycling Incorporated. Okay, so we're good on that. Any questions from any residents related to the last three, whether they're here or live streaming?
Nothing on the live stream.
Okay.
We do keep stalling out. Milan said we do keep stalling out.
Then do you want to do the tax? We'll go through the tax.
Oh,
levies.
sorry, I
We
forgot I'm
got
in the
them
middle of
spaced.
all this, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are.
Item
now-
D, we're
Item,
on
yeah, 2022-16, this is our yearly, piece that gets sent over to the county for the inside millage, which we did not increase this year. So basically, we need to have things over to the county, by, I want to say, beginning of July. I gave you a date, Mayor.
Yeah, I thought it was like July 16th. I
Yeah,
said in the last
yeah.
meeting was middle of July.
Yep, so yeah, that's why we do this in June each year. Again, no, we did not increase anything with inside millage, so that's gonna be the same as it was. And that is the three inside mills.
Anybody
Any
have any
questions?
questions, council, related to that? Any questions from any residents or anybody live streaming?
Mr. Mayor, I will say that I hope this is the last time we have to include that extra 3 mills.
Yeah. I hope you're right. But we'll have to see what happens.
We will have to
That's a
see.
lot of thing, but that will be like Mr. Jordan keeps saying, we have problems, Mayor, but we have good problems. So that would be a good problem. As we talked about earlier in our finance meeting, we're, financially right now, we're even doing better than we were last year at this time. So we hope that continues, especially with some of the redevelopment in the village. Not just the corner property, but some of the other corner properties. I know we did just approve, the planning commission approved plans for an MPK expansion, adding 10 more employees, and that's good. And we are receiving money for the employees that are working up at Ford right now in the demolition, so. Okay, Angela, you want to continue to item D, Resolution 2022-17, the tax budget for 2023?
Yes, last week you were all given, and we didn't include it this week, I apologize, but you were given, the draft of the tax budget that I'd like to send over to the county. What that tax budget does each year is lets the county know, reiterates what we know we're getting in property taxes, but also revenue streams that we, think are coming in. Obviously, last year we had a Dunham project. We included that revenue we knew we'd be getting from the county, and from Maple. But this basically, allows the county to say, okay, they think they're gonna get this much in revenues and resources to be able to spend next year. This is what they think their encumbrances will be at the end of this year to go ahead and kind of net out with that. And then that gives us a final figure that goes on our certificate of estimated resources, which is our guide to say, you can appropriate within these limits for the year in the various line items, various funds for the city. That certificate can be updated at any point in time. So if we start out with something now, it gets submitted again in July each year. We get the certificate by end of year, beginning of January, right around budget time. And then if we thought, wow, we've got a huge windfall, we want to go ahead and update that so that we, on the books, are allowed to show that we're able to spend more money on other things, then we go ahead and we revisit and we do that. If something, God forbid, crashes, then a revenue stream is going to be lost, or we feel like income taxes are not, meeting requirements. Same thing, we can update in reverse and say, look, we'd like to take that down a notch, and we're going to decrease what we thought our expenditures were. So, knock on wood, we haven't had to do that yet. But yes, so that's some of the items we talked about in the finance committee meeting to just revisit in our budget, that hopefully can be offset with other items in our budget so that we're not really making too big of any kind of shift, in what was available on our certificate of estimated resources. So I will put that stuff into, a little bit of a spreadsheet so council knows that if we do increase for fuel, for instance, here's where it can kind of offset. And then the final result being, no net change or minimal net change, so that we're not necessarily needing to update the certificate of resources with the county. When we appropriate, we've appropriated already within that amount. And we did not, I don't even think, we didn't go right to the edge. We're not right at our amount to where if we reallocate anything, we're gonna, have to send anything to the county. I think we're okay. So yeah, that's what this budget does each year. Gets us prepped for next year's appropriations. Kind of a best guess estimate based on where we're at now, where we think we're gonna end up, and what we know we have coming in for revenues for next year for sure.
And it is set conservatively,
Yeah,
For
yes,
this year.
it is set conservatively, absolutely.
not knowing, but. Any questions on item E? From council? Residents? Any residents that are streaming?
Nope.
We'll give it a few minutes. I can ask. I'm gonna move on to item F, which is resolution 2022-18, Alexander Road, Phase 2, Crossroads Asphalt Recycling. Okay. Phase 2, that's what Mr. Councilman Nielsen talked about. Alexander Road, it's Walton and Dunham. Now there, you do see that 241. I know one of the questions was, Angela, and you could probably speak to it. Half of it is a grant and half is a 0% loan. From what we
Correct.
understand, correct?
Yes, so we already had received the grant from the county in the 250, the amount of the 250. That was something we already knew we had. Last year, we tried to take the other portion also in grant, which is where we kind of got a no. So by splitting it out, half into 0% financing through OPWC, which we do have other road project OPWC loans open, that was a little bit more palatable, and so we were given that portion in the loan as well.
Angela, that was for 20 years?
Yes, that's a 0% for 20 years. And we make 2 payments per year to OPWC for all of our loans. And each payment is just over about $25,000, a half. So during COVID, we were able to delay one of those. And so that tacks on to the end of the life of the loan. But yes, we pay that in 2 installments, January and actually July coming up. And so that will be something that will get added to our list of loans for maturity purposes.
And just for the record, I did, the engineer, we always request a recommendation from the engineer in our service department after the opening of the bids. And I did read that letter from the engineer in the record at the last COW meeting for each one of these bids we're talking about and ready to pass for legislation next week. So every one of these things on the sheet that we did talk about, we do, the body, the administration, council does have a letter of recommendation from Sugar and Valley Engineering and also from our building inspector, zoning inspector, street commissioner. I don't have a letter from Mr. Kalman, but a recommendation. But we do have a letter from the engineers.
I will update this legislation as well to show the bid, less the 250 grant, less the 241 loan, and for our total out of pocket to be $4,905.
Okay. Any questions related to that, to resolution 2022-18?
Yes, Mayor Colgrove.
Yes.
Just want to clarify what we were told yesterday, the 241, regarding the 241 loan.
Mm-hmm.
According to our engineer, the 241 loan is actually, that's split. That the loan is actually $120,500, and we did actually receive an additional $120,500 as a grant from the state.
Oh, you are correct about that. You are correct. So I apologize. We have not only the county grant, but the OPWC itself is split grant and loan.
Correct.
So when I said last year we went for all grant money, that's what I meant. So you are correct.
So we're only at the 0% loan is
half of that, right?
Half of the 241.
Right,
Mr.
so
Mayor?
basically, yeah.
Yeah, I just, question for Ray, so last week, I asked you about the grant. So in other words, half of our money now, there was grant money?
Yeah, so as Angela said, the 250,000 is a grant from the county.
Correct.
That we received
Correct,
last year.
that was the
Right.
first
We
one.
were talking about the other 250, which the village had applied for a loan.
Correct.
But what we found out is we actually received the loan, not the full 250 is a loan, but that was split, and partial grant out of the additional 250 from the state of Ohio is now in the form of a grant.
Of a grant, okay.
Right,
So
last
so
year,
the $241,000 number,
So we're still out of pocket 120.
Correct.
500.
that with the 0%
on the loan,
loan.
0%,
on the loan at the 0%,
Right.
correct. Last year we applied for the OPWC as a grant in its entirety. That's where we got denied. So going back to ask for 50-50 gave us that leg up for them to say, yes, we'll go 50-50. So 2 grants and partial loan.
See, and that's why you see the 4905, because they're not considering the 0% loan as out of pocket.
Mhm.
They're just considering the 4,900 as out of pocket.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, but we are paying a 0% loan, it's out of
Yeah,
pocket, but it's
right.
not all encumbered this year in 2022. Spread over that 20 years. So, anybody have any questions related to item F, the 2022-18 Alexander Road Phase 2 Crossroads Asphalt Recycling legislation. Okay, so any residents have any questions? Anybody streaming have any questions?
So far, no.
Okay. So as we discussed earlier, those would all be on there for suspension, along with, the tax levy and the tax budget, along with all the road programs. Moving on to other business, if everybody's good. Okay. The only thing I just touch base, we know Parker's started, so that's taken place. There's some more trips out there. Things are starting to open up a little bit, which is a good thing, quite a bit. We would recess, I would ask, if the council is in agreement to recess for, July and August, with the thing that there could be special meetings, but we would work it out, try to get a quorum or get as many people as we can. I know a lot of us, some of us are planning vacation and stuff, which I understand. I'm not sure about an executive session next week. The way it looks right now, I don't think so. But if we did have any special meetings, it would probably be a council meeting, because there probably could be an executive session related to economic development, or if it's something we need to pass legislation to. Looks like we'll probably be having a planning commission soon for the redevelopment of the Ford plant. Lisa was contacting the members today, and it looks like the 29th, we're gonna make sure that takes place. We had George Smarigan as part of the team too. He couldn't make the 30th, so it looks like the Wednesday thing. I'm probably going to, talking to the developers, planning commission, go up there within that 2-week time, but at the same time, I'm probably gonna invite council too, to go up there if they would like to. We're probably gonna all go at different times, set up some different times in maybe a couple days, but go up there too and have an opportunity to look at the property. We won't be able to go in the building because that's part of all being demoed, but at least get a feel for the property and what their plan is and stuff. So, but I'll let everybody know. We're just kind of getting the planning commission. I want to make sure everybody was available. Then I'll talk to the group over there and see what days work, because we'll have to be escorted, of course. And they want notice on that too. So, but it's a good thing. It's actually very exciting. That's one of the few things. The other thing other business, this Sunday that just passed a few days ago, Dr. Chaba Kresne, who is, some of you know, as the pastor of the Hungarian Reformed Church, was inaugurated as the honorary consul of the Republic of Hungary. And they had a inauguration ceremony Sunday. And I just like to say congratulations to him. I did give a proclamation on behalf of all of us, the mayor's office, council, the administration, and I'll just have to tell you a little about that. It's really not related so much to the church. It's related to, as it says, being honorary consul of the Republic of Hungary. So it's a big honor that we do have somebody actually in the community as a pastor, but also in that position as a liaison to works with the ambassador of Hungary and other consuls. So just wanted to congratulate him in a public meeting also. So Otherwise, that's all I have. I don't know if anybody else has, Council President Allen, anything under
Mr.
other
Mayor,
business?
yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Montello and the rest of council, I think that we need to have something in place for our online streaming where the resident needs to actually identify themselves. We have residents come up to the mic and they have to identify themselves by name and address. But we have some very strange names where it's not actually a name. Not that I have a problem with them asking questions, but I just don't feel that that's fair compared to being in person and having a resident, that does have to identify themselves. I don't know if there's something that we would need to do, Mr. Montello, for any type of legislation to put that in, or?
We'll check it out.
Thank you.
For the most part, other than those random little comments, I haven't seen anybody that didn't already have a name appearing. Because you do usually need to log in with your Gmail unless you really have a wacky out there, like everybody who's on here, usually their name's coming up automatically.
Yeah, well, we did have last week,
Oh,
and
of course.
so
Well-
that's where it's coming from, yeah.
Gotcha.
And,
So the one we got in, it was me, no, I'm just
and
kidding.
not only that, not only do we ask their name, we ask the residents to give an address.
Right,
And even a
Yes.
non-resident, we ask them to give an address. So I would agree, it's not fair you ask, if we're gonna ask anybody to present themselves, whether it's live stream
Yep.
or live, it should be the same. And I'm sure everybody can agree with that.
Mhm.
So I as mayor agree with that. I see no problem that, but John, if you think we need legislation, let us know. And, or if it's just something that I'm allowed to require or a chair of a committee can require at their meetings, that's fine too.
it was last week, there was some comments, if you will, on there by an unidentifiable person that another resident and employee took some offense to, as being, what they were stating was factual and what we were saying in the meeting compared to. But just coming down to it, I just thought that it was necessary for them to actually be identifiable.
Submit a paragraph.
Yes.
So I just had a question for Ms. Allen. So are you seeing that when someone just wants to put a general comment or when they actually want to ask a specific question for council? I mean, anyone on YouTube can.
Yeah, no, I think
comment.
it's, anybody could comment, but I
Yeah.
think if they want a question answered by council,
Okay,
they need to be properly identified.
Yeah, you just don't read it.
Go ahead, John.
That's
Did you have,
What it would have to end up
Did you-
being.
did you want to comment? Do you have something in the legislation?
Checking our council rules real quickly here. It is on the 07 H, the members of the public commission address council will recognize the stand with the microphone, give the name, address, and what procedures and comments. I would think it's the same principle as long as it's, yeah. So I would think, before you share comments, you should say what you want, if you don't share. I'll research it for some things, and I, things change.
We can also announce, type out in the beginning of each meeting, pursuant to 220.07H3, please remember if you would like to comment or like to have a comment read out loud or a question answered, that you need to state your name and address.
Or we can clarify the rules for electronic communication at the time we were kind of stated. That was, we didn't allow those. So recently, changing technology, I'll take a look to make sure. I know when somebody makes a public record, ask their name and address, somebody asks you for a document, maybe ask you. I'm not sure that applies to them. I would think that down at the council is a little different. I think we can do it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Double check your sound next week as well. Karen Remming saying the sound was not great for both meetings tonight, but I don't know if that has anything to do with us cutting in and out. I haven't seen us cut out in a few minutes here, but
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. We apologize for that. I know on my computer it sounded okay, but what we were getting almost like a buffering, it was,
yeah.
and the screen
You
was
have to
kind of getting
remember,
fuzzy.
Yeah, I did let everybody know that.
Did we have that in the first meeting too? Was it?
Yes, it was doing it in the first meeting
Okay,
too, same
okay.
thing.
All right, any other comment, anybody else have anything for other business?
Mayor Colgrove?
Yes,
Just wanted to wish everyone those who are fathers, a great Father's Day, but also to wish everyone a great Juneteenth. As we know, in 2021, we have a new federal holiday in the United States, Juneteenth. And this year, Walton Hills, our employees will be able to observe that holiday with a day off on Monday because Juneteenth falls on Sunday. And just want to wish everyone both a happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth 2022.
thank you. Same to you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd just like to thank Angela for putting that email out for the employees
Yes.
about it too.
If I may, is anyone aware of anything local that might be happening in, in celebration or in regard to Juneteenth? I had read an article recently, saying like, we've got this holiday now what can we do with it is in terms of Cleveland, because obviously it originated in Texas, but how can we make it meaningful here now that we've got this as a holiday?
Oh, I will share some links to your email.
Okay.
I can do that. One I will mention in particular is not in the 44146 area, but at the Western Reserve Historical Society on Thursday this week is a Juneteenth celebration. You can go to the Western Reserve Historical Society website if you want to register for that. But throughout Northeast Ohio, there are many different celebrations for Juneteenth, and I will send some links
Thank
to
you.
you all.
Any other questions under other business? Or anything anybody wants to share under other business? Okay, well then we'll have those, oh, Well, yeah, of course.
So pursuant to 22007H3, my name is Milan Verzik, 14577 Alexander Road. A couple of things, as Mr. Whedon mentioned, I wanted to wish everyone a happy Father's Day. Couple of things. As part of the OWL, as the assistant editor of the OWL, I wanted to let it be known, it's been published, but just to share it again. The OWL will be at the Walton Hills Lake Club on Monday, July 5th. We're raffling off some nice baskets to raise some money to offset our production because as a organization that puts out a product, we have to deal with all those costs that have gone up, especially printing related, paper and ink, etc. So we'll be selling raffle tickets. You could pre-order some. With the coupons that are in the OWL, you could just drop them in the white mailbox, or we'll be up there that day selling, and later in the afternoon we'll announce the winners. And as president of the Citizens League, I wanted to say that the Citizens League will also be up at the lake on July 5th. We'll announce our Citizen of the Year.
July 4th,
Yeah,
not the 5th.
not the 5th, I'm sorry. It is on Monday the 4th, the holiday. We'll be announcing Citizen of the Year. Our committee has gone through a good handful of nominations, and we've made a great selection.
It's me, right?
And I'll be in
I was
touch.
just gonna ask you what time
I will ask you, I'll send an email to you, Mr. Mayor, about organizing a recognition or resolution.
Proclamation.
Proclamation. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Brian,
you.
you be there at 9 o'clock. I'll make sure you get it.
Bright and early.
PM.
Oh.
Anybody else have anything under other business? Any residents that are watching live stream have anything under other business?
Nothing else that I see.
Is council good?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller? Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Vote the meeting adjourned, 5-0 at 7:59. Thank you, everybody. Everybody have a nice week, a nice weekend, a nice Father's Day, as Mr. Whedon mentioned. And summer's going quick. Before you know it, we will be at the lake for 4th of July.